guys, welcome. Today we are going to talk about cell organelles. Well, organelles are basically different organs, if you can say, that are present within the cell, a single cell. It can be either a plant cell or it can be an animal cell. As you already know, we are composed of millions and millions and millions of cells, right? Similarly, plants are also composed of millions of cells. We have a very unique DNA that is only present within us. And plants also actually have a unique DNA that's present among their living cells. We are actually going to look at a few cell organelles or few cell systems that has one or more jobs that it performs within the cell. Now for this week, we have a guided practice activity, which is going to be a single document. So what we're going to do is look at 4 cell organelles at a time. I have color coded them. So today on Monday, we will look at these 4 that are in orange. Tuesday, we will look at the purple ones, and on Wednesday, we will look at the blue ones. So let's go back to the first ones that we are going to look at. And the very first one that we see is a cell wall. Now, a cell wall, as you've already read, is actually the outermost layer within the cell. And it is actually very rigid, very tough. It does not have much to do with how plants transport materials in and out of the cell. It's mostly there to provide a structure and protection for the cell. There we go. Now, the next question is it present in a plant cell, an animal cell, or both? Now, fun fact, cell wall is actually only present in the plant cell. We cannot see a cell wall in an animal cell. The outermost layer for the animal cell would be a cell membrane. So it is not present in both. It's only present in a plant cell. Okay, now let's move on. What is the role of a cell wall in the cell city? Now, if we were to think about a plant cell or an animal cell as a medieval city, we would probably tell that the cell wall is actually kind of like the wall that surrounds that medieval city. So we can say that it is the wall surrounding the city. Now let's move on to the next one, the cell membrane. Now, like I already said, cell membrane can be the outermost layer of an animal cell because it does not contain a cell wall. But in plant cells, it lies below the cell wall. So when you go from outside to inside in a plant cell, first we would have the cell wall and then we would have the cell membrane. Now, what the cell membrane does is that it is actually responsible for tracking the movement and letting something go inside the cell or letting something go outside of the cell. So it gives permission to those molecules to whether enter the cell or move out of the cell. In addition to that, it can actually also provide support to the cell. It can also protect the cell and kind of just check around the conditions of the cell and be like, hey, what's up? What's going on within this cell? So that's what a cell membrane does. Now, since we already know that it is present in both animal cell and plant cells, I'm just going to say that it's present in both. The role in cell city. Now, if we actually, again, consider the cell, a plant cell or an animal cell as a city, we would say that a cell membrane is kind of like the border that the city consists of. So it is the border of the city. All right. Now let's move on to the third one, which is a nucleus. Now, nucleus is actually one of the most important structures there is. It is normally very large and oval in structure, and it's normally present in the middle-ish part of the cell. Now, what the nucleus does is that it controls the activities that's going on within the cell. So it guides the cell to perform certain activities. Also, this is where actually the DNA of a cell is present in both animal and plant cells. This is where it contains the genetic information. So let's try and answer this. Now, of course, it is contained in both plant and animal cells. That's what makes these cells very unique. So I'm going to say that it's present in both. And let's see, what's the role in the cell city? So if we again thought of a cell as a city, we would say that it would kind of be like a mayor in an office in a city hall. So I would say that it is a mayor. Now, just like a mayor's office, it is definitely holding a lot of power, has the power to overlook everything that's going on within its city limits. So that's why we would probably make that comparison. All right, now let's move on to the final cell organelle for the day, which is the cytoplasm. Now, a cytoplasm actually is something that is once again found in both plants and animals in their cells respectively. Now, a cytoplasm, what it does is, again, it is dealt with protection. It deals with protection. But instead of protecting the whole cell, what it does is that it protects the various organelles or individual organelles of the cell. It provides support and it protects it. It's kind of like a sidewalk that you can find within the city, all throughout the city. You see, that provides like nourishment and that provides support and so on. It is located beneath the cell membrane, but one thing to note though is that it is very thick and it's almost contains a jelly-like consistency. So it's very fascinating to watch, and hopefully when you guys come back, we'll be able to watch this on a microscope. So let's try and answer that question. And there we go. So these are the 4 organelles that we learned about today. I hope you guys have an amazing day. And once again, please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.